Phoenix.
That great crime a few years ago. Remember that? It's the first visit for Bill Walsh's troops back to the site of Super Bowl 16 where they beat Cincinnati, and they're in here right now. I'm Tom Brookshire, along with Wayne Walker. And Wayne, coaches never like to talk about the first game as being important should they lose it, but the players have given us the idea, both teams, that this is almost a playoff game in their mind.
Oh, it really is. This is the opener. This is the one they've been waiting for, all those long hours in training camp. They've pointed for this one. The 49ers kind of cruise their way in, 2-2 into preseason, no big problems. The Lions, on the other hand, they have 4 quarterbacks on their roster. They didn't make a decision on who would start till earlier this week. It was Gary Danielson, not because of what he did in the preseason, but because of what he did in the second half of that playoff game out in San Francisco a year ago.
4 quarterbacks on a roster. That's the first time I think I've ever seen that in this league. Only 49 players. That's still the limit. The 49ers have lost the toss. Detroit will take the football, obviously. And while we don't have a sold-out crowd, we are getting pretty close. Be over 60,000. Robbie Martin and Jenkins back, number 31, back for Detroit. And Monty Clark's team is a team that does everything pretty well and not to be taken lightly. That's Wershing, of course, Ray, one of the most consistent kickers, maybe in the history of this league. He's a good one. Is underway. It's a low squib kick taken by Jenkins. Jenkins out to the 27, where a host of 49ers put the arm lock on him, but a pretty good field position starting out. Here's the offense. Gary Danielson is the quarterback, as Wayne Walker told you. Jimmy Jones, a big, good fullback who can catch it. The great Billy Sims. Nichols and Chadwick, 2 pretty good receivers. Chadwick, very underrated. David Lewis, the big rookie, is starting to tight end from Cal. Stringer and Dorney, the tackles. Dieterich and Greco, the guards. And Steve Mott, the big giant from Georgia, in there at offensive center. Here's the first snap. Ball's on the 27. The toss back to Billy Sims, 20 left. Sims maybe a couple short of the 30-yard line as Ricky Ellison makes the tackle. Stover, Manu Tuiasosopo, and Wayne Board will be the 34 up front. Buns playing that left side for the first time in a while. Ellison, Jack Reynolds back forever, and Tina Turner, an excellent linebacker on the outside. You know about the secondary. Lott, Wright, Williams, and Hicks, the best. The coach in his 6th year at the helm on the Bay, and certainly now as the president of the club, firmly entrenched there forever, I would imagine. Billy Sims gets his second call. Who cuts back? Makes a couple of people miss, including Ronnie Lott, and gets to almost the 35-yard line.
They're in a situation right now, Brookie, that Gary Danielson said that they need to do all day. They don't want to have it more than 3rd or 5 or 6 against the 49ers because the Niners have an exceptional nickel defense, and it's hard to pick up the 10 and 12 yards against them, but you can pick up the 5 and 6 sometimes by throwing underneath. So what they set out to do, they started out with double tight ends. They wanted to make it 3rd down and short, and so far they've done that.
A good job. You're looking at Gary Danielson back into a Detroit shotgun. By the way, Ronnie Lott limped off the field after that last missed tackle. Leonard Thompson is in the game. Across the middle at the 40-yard line. Number 39, Leonard Thompson makes his first catch. And he's only been back to camp for 3 days.
Just signed a contract 3 days ago. Reported to camp, hadn't taken a hit, had caught some balls, was moving well. You have to take it easy when you haven't been working out because you might pull a muscle. So he just kind of cruised in those 2 or 3 days and save it up for this afternoon.
Billy Sims is out. Chadwick comes out. Jenkins is in. A much deeper squad than they've had here in Detroit for a while. Ronnie Lott being admitted to on the sidelines. He's standing. That's the best sign we've seen. First down and 10 on the 40. Inside drive to Jimmy Jones. The big draft choice of a year ago. And, man, he can run good pass routes. And we're told he's one of the most cooperative big stars to come in this league for quite some time.
Everybody we talked to in the Lions organization, from other players to the coaches to that gentleman right there, Monty Clark, said that James Jones is going to be a star in this league.
Monty Clark, about as relaxed as we've ever seen him. He has a lot of San Francisco ties, none of which will hold up today.
His relaxed isn't real relaxed.
That's as good as it gets. Second down and 8. The drive, strong side reverse by Jones, all the way outside. Looks like close to Detroit first down into San Francisco territory. McLemore pushed the big fella out there.
Well, that was almost student body left that time. They had a lot of people out in front of him. Ken Jenkins, number 31, the lead blocker. Billy Sims told us that we just ask him for cracks. We don't need gigantic holes. We just ask him for cracks.
He got outside, which shows you the speed that the 230-pounder has. If he ran it sort of from a power formation, shouldn't be able to get there as a fullback. First down inside San Francisco territory. 2 first downs in a row. Billy Sims is back. He's the tailback. The toss back to Billy Sims, running left. Sims crashes to the 42-yard line. Buns comes up with the ball, but let's see what the officials say. Bob Frederick is the umpire in charge of this crew, and they call it actually no fumble. The ground cannot cause a fumble. I think that's what that rule reads.
You'll see that right here, straight power now. Off the I formation, over to the left side on the toss. Billy Sims says he prefers to run outside the tackles, but he can cut back and get the yards there. Well, it looked like it might have been coming out of there before Sims hit the ground.
He's so good about leaving his interference and finding the hole. Goes on his own. Second down and 3 to go. Danielson on a misdirection play to Jimmy Jones, the fullback. About the 40, hit very hard there by Keena Turner. That was a good tackle. The big fellow was underway. Stover also helping on that play. This will bring up 3rd and short, a very good offensive play calling situation. On the ground is Big Stringer, the offensive left tackle. We'll be back, no score, but Detroit. You're looking at Rich Stringer, the big Michigan Wolverine All-American. He's going to his 2nd year here in Detroit. He's a 270-pounder, and when they hit that AstroTurf, the artificial, it's really like dropping out of an airplane. That's a big crash.
Rookie started 4 games for the Lions last year and did such a good job there that they moved Chris Dieterich, who was the offensive starter there last year, into guard. So if he goes out, if Springer goes out, more than likely they'll move Dieterich back out to tackle, and then come in with Homer Elias, who was also a starter, so they're not going to go down much in quality. But this young man they have bright hopes for.
Boy, local fans, of course, here in Detroit remember him from just down the road at Ann Arbor, playing for Bo Schembechler. The Michigan connection. Well, he doesn't look seriously injured.
Rookie, we got some on the other side of the line, too. Ronnie Lott, injured ankle. He's back in. Eric Wright was injured, and he may not play again this afternoon. Left knee for Eric Wright.
Oh, boy. Ronnie Lott, of course, one of the premier cornerbacks in this game right now on the sidelines. 3rd and inches. Double tight end formation. Billy Sims for the first down, and Detroit has not given up the ball and only thrown 1 pass.
That's what they wanted to do. Remember when we talked to Gary Danielson, they said we'd like to keep the 49ers. You look at Eric Wright there, number 21. Danielson said we'd like to keep the 49er nickel defense off the field because we feel and they feel that that's their best defense.
Eric Wright's on the sidelines, but Ronnie Lott is now back in the lineup, and that is also sort of symptomatic about him. He doesn't want to sit on the sidelines at all. You've got to really hurt Ronnie Lott to put him on the bench.
Mario Clark is over there playing for Eric Wright.
A twisted knee for Eric Wright. You're absolutely right, Wayne. Single back is Billy Sims. That's Jones, the motion man. The inside reverse play. That's Nichols. Nichols behind Danielson's block to the 25-yard line. The quarterback led the play. A reverse. Sims to Nichols.
You'll get at least one of these a game from Monty Clark. They'll always love the reverse. Watch Danielson now. He runs past Carlton Williamson, number 27, looking around, trying to find somebody to block. If he peel back right here and get number 27, Carlton Williamson, Nichols is going to make some more yards.
He took a shot. It wasn't the best block I've ever seen, but it was textbook.
Well, you know, Gary said that's the reason I won. Monty named me the starting quarterback because I'm the best tackler.
An impressive drive by the Detroit Lions. A 9-17 a year ago, a playoff loser, but they're a stronger, deeper team this year. handoff to Jones running the strong side. Oh, hit hard by the 49ers at the 24-yard line. Stuckey, the first man to jam it up. Hacksaw Reynolds playing in there. We all remember in this very ballpark the stirring goal line stand that beat Cincinnati.
Hacksaw had 2 big hits in there, and look, he looks like he's limping. Might be nicked a little bit going off.
You know, a lot of people are not working very hard in training camp. I don't mean to be the kind of guy that thinks you ought to play everybody 4 games, but a lot of people didn't get much action, including Jack Reynolds.
And he said he might be a little rusty. Jim Fonhorst in there for Reynolds.
2nd down 9. Jim, the younger brother of the big offensive tackle. It's a running pass with Jones. JJ is going to be hit and dropped for a loss. Back to the 27. Good defense as Tuya Sissoko came over from the nose tackle position, and getting him from Seattle might have been a real gem for this ball club defensively.
He's real active, extremely quick. They also have Louis Kelcher. They also have Michael Carter, who is a silver medalist in the Olympics in the shot put, so they're pretty well stacked at that nose tackle position right now.
A beautiful blend of different talents, eh? A first tough situation for Danielson and the Lions. 3rd down and a bunch. 3rd and 11, call it. This is when that good nickel defense comes into play for San Francisco. The shotgun. Uh-oh, movement by Jones. They got away with it, no flag. Now the flag is called. Danielson running to the 9-yard line. There is a flag back on the 37. Bob Frederick tells us holding against Detroit. Good run.
Well, Danielson's a good athlete. You know, when I was here playing for the Lions, rookie, I lived right down the street from where he went to high school. I used to go there and watch him play.
Offensive holding.
Always been a good athlete.
Number 70. 3rd down.
Keith Dorney was the fellow called. We don't have to tell you about the holding rules or lack of rules. That they could call it darn near on every man on every play.
Now in that long yardage situation that the Lions wanted to avoid, Niners now can just tee off and come after him.
Dean is not here. The designated pass rusher par excellence has not signed a contract with San Francisco. And he led the league in sacks a year ago. They can still put a lot of heat on you. 3rd down and 21. Danielson. A screen out to Billy Sims, who drops the ball.
49ers gave him a different look on defense. They didn't have a nickel. They had 3 down linemen and a ton of defensive backs in there that time. So without Fred Dean, they didn't use their nickel in that situation. They only rushed 3.
Smart, huh?
Good.
Put it on and take it off. Billy Sims was not looking around, but he sure has a chance to pick up some yardage on that. He is at 212 pounds this year, bigger, stronger, and happier contract-wise. He's going to be something. Mike Black to kick. McLemore, one of the best, is back to watch the ball go into the end zone, probably. Black had 17 out inside the 20 as a rookie. Here, let's see. Pretty good kick. Oh. That was Barnes down there to try to make the spike, but no cigar. San Francisco will get the football for the first time on the 20-yard line. There's no score here in the first. Member of the Clark family that plays for San Francisco, the number 3 quarterback out there.
Mixed emotions.
Yeah, Monty just says he can't pick the kid's brain. The kid's too smart to tell him anything. Here's the fake reverse by Tyler, keeps it, and Wendell Tyler gets out to the 27. Jimmy Williams had to pull him down there, and the 49ers went from the early snap. Montana, the quarterback. Wendell Tyler, Roger Craig, 2 excellent all-around football players. Dwight Clark, almost all the way back. Francis, Paris, Ayers, Quillen, Cross, and Fonhorst. Very good offensive line and getting better every week. There he is. Man from Western Pennsylvania. And Notre Dame, Joe Montana on 2nd down. Here's the reverse dash by Montana. Boy, he handles himself beautifully. Tyler stacked up at the 32-yard line. Jimmy Williams making his second tackle on defense. Here is that defense. William Gay at left end now. The rookie Eric Williams at left tackle. He's going to be busy. Doug English, the Pro Bowler, at right tackle, and Mike Kofer at right end. They do a lot of stunning. Cobb, Steve Doig is in there. Fantetti has not signed. And Jimmy Williams. Doig will be really pressured today, too. A real good young secondary. Watkins, McNorton, Graham, and Alvin Hall. They played extremely well a year ago. First down for San Francisco. Here's Tyler, just short of the 40. Darn, Wendell looks really quick this year.
Extremely quick. He gets up there as well as anybody, and Roger Craig, a great compliment to him back there, is a good lead blocker.
Detroit had the ball for 7 minutes and 21 seconds, but didn't get anything out of it. Remember, keep in mind that the Lions stun a lot on defense, and once in a while you can run the heck out of a stunning defense. Second down 5. Montana, quick drop. Now he dances, now he moves. He's sacked, he fumbles the ball. Gay has the ball. William Gay goes to the 4-yard line. Kofer got a block.
Secondary that Brookie was telling you about for this. Montana can't find a soul open. Mike Kofer comes from behind, strips the ball away. Number 79, William Gay, is there. Now, if he's got anything, he's got quickness. Montana made an effort. Here it is, ground level. Watch the strip right here. Hand goes around, the ball is out, and the Lions are in business.
Montana almost lost his left arm trying to make the tackle on Gay. Danielson, Sims to about the 2-yard line. Montana's strong forward is not throwing the ball for interceptions. Should he have unloaded that ball and thrown it out of bounds?
I don't think he had anywhere to even do that with. The coverage was really good back there, and I think it was just trying to get outside so he could get a second look. But Kofer, with good speed, ran him down from behind.
Kofer has good speed, and of course he buried the quarterback and prevented that tackle. Billy Sims, hits hard, drags to the goal line. Let's see how close he got it. Dwight Hicks doesn't think so. Sims.
Just going to say that was second effort. You can see that pile move a little bit after it looked like it would stop. Still some discussion down there now.
Bob Frederick was talking to Billy Sims. Sims is acting like perhaps they're...
We had an unsportsmanlike conduct for the second man, not the scoring player, spiking the ball. That 5-yard penalty will be carried over to the following kickoff. However, the touchdown counts.
Reese McCall spiked the ball for Billy Sims. And if there's one rule that's ridiculous, is this exuberance rule where you can't have any fun in the end zone after a touchdown.
Here it is right here. You'll see it close. Look at the effort now by number 20, Sims. See, he moved the pile. He's in. The ball was loose, but the ball was across. All it has to do is break the plane of the goal line. If he has possession of it there, it's 6 points, and he did.
Eddie Murray will try the first extra point. Officially for him this year, Eric Hipple, the number 2 quarterback, is holding. He's got 123 in a row, and that is the NFL record right now. Billy Sims gets 7, or at least 6. Detroit draws first blood.
Now the 49ers contended that Billy Sims did not have possession of this football when he crossed the goal line. You're not going to get a better look at it than this. Still has possession, still has it, leans across, he breaks the plane of the goal line. It was 6.
Boy, is he strong. At 212 pounds, which is about 6 pounds, it looks like he's put it all in the thighs and the shoulders, doesn't it?
He said he worked harder this offseason than he has any time in his career. And those 2 extra efforts that we just saw, I think, proved it.
Eddie Murray has had a little bit of a back problem this week, but he is kicking off. Derek Harmon, the rookie from Cornell, may take it. Harmon, good run back, a good wedge, brings him out to the 37-yard line. Good special team play by San Francisco, and they were worrying about this area a little bit. Barnes made the tackle there. 2 plays, 3 yards, and a lot of discussion. Only took them 39 seconds, but in their minds it took about 2 hours. Football players never forget. Joe Montana now with a fumble that was run deep by Bill Gay earlier. Back on the play pass action. Montana. Beautiful throw to Solomon at the 40. Nice throw by Joe Montana. Let's go now to New York for an NFL update with Brent Musburger.
Tom, the New York Giants have scored against the Philadelphia Eagles. Some question about the Giants' attack this year. This was 3rd down. Sims from the pocket went to his tight end, Zeke Moat. 24 yards. They lead the Eagles 7-3. Let's go back to Detroit.
Okay, Brent, that's a battle of ancient rivals, the Giants and the Eagles. Straight handoff. Wendell Tyler. Tyler to the 35-yard line and in a hurry. Watkins hanging on for another tackle. Boy, the 49ers are coming off the ball quickly. Their offensive line is making contact with that 4-man down front for Detroit very quickly.
Everybody thinks that the 49ers are a finesse team because they throw the ball around so much. But when we talked to Doug English, the defensive tackle for the Lions, he thought that the 49ers up front were as tough as anybody, and he was talking physical.
Yeah, I've heard that Cross and Farnhorst are as 2 physical players on the same side as there is in the league. Tyler behind Farnhorst gets to the 25-yard line. Alvin Hall making a tackle in the secondary.
That's where he ran again. Ricky, like you said, behind Randy Cross and Keith Farnhorst over on the right side with John Ayers on a pull. And is he quick enough?
49ers.
And you know the big fella tight end can block too.
Russ Francis, Bill
Yes,
Walsh,
sir.
he's got about the best technique of blocking as any tight end he's seen.
He stays with his blocks a long time. 49ers are now mad and stung a little bit. It looks like they're beginning to really hum it. It's a 1st and 10. The toss back to Tyler. Tyler inside the 20 to the 19. Cutting and slashing. And the secondaries had to make 3 straight tackles.
That time they blocked the tight end down on the defensive end and pulled Keith Farnhorst, the offensive tackle, out.
Don't forget, immediately following the conclusion of this game, CBS Sports coverage of the U.S. Open Tennis Championships continues. You'll see Jimmy Connors versus Andre Leconte. And that's going to be something because he's the last fellow that actually beat Bjorn Borg a few years ago, didn't he?
No, he beat him, in a tournament about a month or so ago.
In Stuttgart.
Yep.
Right here on CBS, the greatest tennis in the world. 2nd down and 4. The quick draw. Number 32, Monroe. He's got the 1st down. Gary Cobb gets his first call, and he's a linebacker for Detroit.
I'll tell you what's happening right here now is just the simple fact that the 49ers offensive line is dominating up front. Look at Ayers with English right there. Stalemated him. Blocks out on the linebackers. Nobody touched Monroe until he was 6-7 yards downfield, and for the Lions, that's not a good sign.
And Fantetti is a great middle linebacker against the run, and he's not even suited up. He's somewhere up here in the stands. 2 tight ends, Cooper and Francis in now. Montana, quick throw to Francis inside the 5 to the 2. Alvin Hall barely able to hold on. Hall came up with the ball, but late.
It's aggressive blocking by the offensive line. It keeps everybody's hands down. And Montana had a seam to look over. Nobody on the run.
Anybody have better feet at quarterback than Joe Montana, really? About
Pretty nifty.
Dan Spolero. Russ Francis still a load at 240 pounds and finished very strongly in '83. Cooper in motion toss. Back to number 33. That's Craig. Good defense out there. Back to the 7-yard line. Watkins up quickly.
Great play by the cornerback, number 27, Bobby Watkins, who third year in the league and third year as starter for Detroit. This group, as you said, is starting to come together here, this defensive secondary in Detroit.
Wayne, is this one of the noisiest ballparks in the league?
I think it's the noisiest. It is. 49ers are concerned about that, too, getting this crowd back behind the Detroit team, and they can really pump them out.
Second down and 5 on the 5. Montana dashing out to the right. Dumps it. Touchdown. That's Monroe making a diving catch, but it wasn't a hard one to catch. Montana took a little bit off of that and just made sure of the touch.
Montana rolled right. Monroe went in and looked like he was going to run a pattern inside, pivoted back out, had a step, and Montana had it right on the money. There goes Monroe. He's lost inside. He comes back out on the linebacker. Has a step. That's what they want.
He's only 166 pounds. You can't lose him out there, maybe. Wershing now trying for the extra point. Montana holding. They got a tie game. The Detroit defense put the Lions close, but I'll tell you, this was an offensive drive that did sting a little bit. The 49ers came out and loaded it up. First quarter action. How about that? 7-7 at the end of one. Tom Brookshire with Wayne Walker, and that first quarter went very quickly. I think Bill Walsh was happy to see this offense finally be able to get on the field and get a good drive going.
I think so. You know, he's been a lot more relaxed, I think, this season and in years past, too, Bricky. I think that he felt that their good performance last year kind of vindicated that Super Bowl year.
Robbie Martin and Ken Jenkins back. Wershing's kicked deep to the 4.5-yard line. This is Robbie Martin. Nailed and buried at the 15. Good coverage again by San Francisco.
Ron Ferrari, a special team crazy, was down there.
You got to have him now. They're going to even put him in the Pro Bowl game as special team performers. 8 plays, 62 yards, and Montana was incredible indeed. A 5-yard TD pass to Monroe, the little fella. Now let's see if Detroit can start and do something 80 yards away. Nichols comes out to the left. Jones and Sims, the backs in the eye. Quick drop by Danielson going up, and a beautiful catch by Nichols at the 36-yard line. Carlton Williamson knocked him out there. That's a good throw by Gary Danielson.
He went right to work over there on the spot, vacated by Eric Wright, who we said hurt a knee earlier. Dana McLemore over there now. Earlier it was Mario Clark. McLemore doesn't get a lot of playing time at cornerback. Danielson pumped and then put it right on the money.
You almost have to get a bump on that in that short zone, in that 5-yard zone, which is legal, or the guy can split you once in a while there, huh?
McLemore really kind of played it the right way. At least he didn't let him inside. He kept it outside, and it's a tougher throw for the quarterback there.
Danielson got a pretty good ovation when introduced, and I think he is very much pumped up about this. Inside drive by Jones. J.J. weaves to the 44-yard line.
Ricky, they say that this young man has better field vision than any player that Monty Clark has ever coached or the offensive coordinator Bill Nelson has ever coached. Almost you can see this right now. Watch this cut. When he's got the ball now, they say he can practically see everybody on the field. Look at him looking around.
Huh.
He made 2 90-degree cuts there.
Looked like he was coming through a couple of revolving doors. Yeah. He just made the right shift. Good play by the second-year fullback. Second down and 2. Sims and Jones. Jones outside. Might have crawled for a first down. Let's see where the zebra spotted. Tuiasosopo was there, but maybe just a little late. New Orleans leading Atlanta. That is a football score, folks. 7-5 in the first quarter. St. Louis on top of Green Bay, 7-0 also in the first period. St. Louis, a good-looking ball club this year. The Giants, with that touchdown Brent told you about, have Philadelphia down 7-3. A field goal for Philadelphia by McFadden, their new kicker, and the length of the ball for a first down. Remember, Remember, Detroit moved this ball extremely well in that game a year ago. Don't forget, next Sunday, it all starts with the NFL Today. Dallas against the Giants, Green Bay against the LA Raiders, Detroit and Atlanta, and Minnesota against the Eagles. 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and you check your local listings. It all starts with the NFL Today. And I'll tell you, we're going to have some football season here on CBS. 1st and 10. Danielson with a lot of time on play action. Now he's rushed. In and out of the hands. In and out of the hands.
Dwight Hicks.
Dwight Hicks.
Dwight Hicks would like to have that one back.
There's a flag down at the 26-yard line of San Francisco on Ronnie Lott's side.
Defensive pass interference, number 29. First down.
Mario Clark, rookie.
Ronnie Lott is not in there at the left corner spot.
No, we've got Mario Clark playing the left, Dana McLemore playing the right, so both 49er starting quarterbacks are out of this ball game.
That replay did not show where the contact took place. Anything over 5 yards now, the defender cannot lay a glove on the receiver, which makes it virtually impossible in my humble opinion. 1st and 10 from the 26-yard line. Detroit still with the ball. Inside drive by Jones, trying to find a hole and doesn't find much. May have gotten a yard and a half. Danny Buns and Board and several others. Buns is getting a good shot at that outside linebacking spot on the strong side, huh?
Number 57 is the first year he has played the outside. He was an inside linebacker before. They lost Willie Harper, of course.
San Diego with a touchdown over Minnesota, 7-3. Tampa Bay trailing Chicago 3-0. Can't believe they're having bad weather in Chicago this early. Kansas City 7, Pittsburgh 3 in the first. A lot of action, but nothing like we're having right here in the Silverdome. Out of the eye, Billy Sims jumps over 2 people and vaults inside to the 18-yard line. He jumped over somebody on the line of scrimmage.
I tell you, he gives up his body when he runs up in there. Ricky Ellison, number 50, had him right in his sights, and I know Ellison went through his mind, and he said, I'm going to level him. I've got him. I've got him. He's mine. Watch number 50 here. And look what happens. Right over the top. Where'd he go?
Some athlete.
Yes, sir.
We said, where you been living in the off-season? He didn't say Manhattan or Chicago or Paris. He said, Hooks. I said, where's that? He said, Texas. Hooks, Texas. You know where that is. I said, sure.
He still wears his high school jersey underneath that Lions jersey.
And he's very much a relaxed player this year. Shotgun on 3rd and 3. Danielson loves the short. Out to Sims. Sims tackled well by Hacksaw Reynolds. What a play. He must have read that one last night, going over his notes.
Not going to fool him much. Not going to fool him much. And I'll tell you what, he can still move surprisingly well for a guy in his 15th season. He knows where to go. He was keen, Sims, all the way. Pretty good lateral movement for a guy that they perhaps thought they didn't want back on their ball club this year. He told Bill Walsh when Walsh maybe kind of intimated, why don't you retire Hacksaw? Hacksaw said, well, I'm going to be playing somewhere. Whether it's San Francisco, I'm going to be playing somewhere.
It's a good thing they've got him. What a play. A big one. It's forcing Murray now to try the field goal. Eric Kipper will hold. It's going to be from the 29, so call it the 39-yard field goal attempt. His back has been bothering him now all week. A high snap. Boy, dead solid, perfect. A high snap was handled by Eric Hempel, and Eddie Murray scores again.
By light beer from Miller, everything you always wanted in a beer, and less. Your Toyota dealer and Toyota's lowest priced, hard-working truck, the Standard Bed. And by Federal Express Zapped Mail, an exact copy delivered door to door in just 2 hours.
Eddie Murray breathing once again, the little field goal kicker who had to live through a pretty tough offseason, even though he's one of the game's very, very best. Here's his kickoff after that 39-yard field goal. 2 yards deep in the end zone is Carl Monroe. Monroe, the 166-pounder, fumbles the ball at the 24. Monroe Johnson caused it.
I always have a tough problem seeing this. But it's hard to time. There's always bodies flying around. They're going full speed on special teams. You be the judge right here. The ball is out before it hits the ground. Now you try to see that with a naked eye, it's double up.
Yeah, it's really impossible, but that was a fumble, but San Francisco comes out. They trail by 3. Pass to Clark. Almost intercepted, almost caught, and Bobby Watkins was all over 87.
Bobby Watkins made a great play that time against Dwight Clark. And remember, he was talking to us when we sat down with him the other day that the thing that concerned him most about going into this game was he didn't know that much about Clark, because Clark didn't play against him last year in the playoff game, and he didn't know how Montana would use him since he's coming off knee surgery. He just found out that Montana's going to look at him a little bit.
A little bit. 4 years, the last 4 years, number 87 has averaged over 70 catches a season. Make no mistake, that's quality. Second down and 10. Montana with no backs back. He's going to throw it. He dumps it off. That's Craig. The Cornhusker picks up about 7 or 8 yards and is dumped on the far side at the 37-yard line.
Young guy right there, Brookie, just got better with every game last year. Now, again, the 49ers really pick on the linebackers. And you got to play linebacker against the 49ers. You got to be ready to run. Doig, number 58. He's in his 3rd year, but basically making his first start a little bit behind Craig, and Craig picked up some important yardage.
And Craig, even though he's a big fullback type, has tremendous speed and can be very hard to get in the open field. 3rd down and 2. We got 10 minutes left before half. Montana reloads and hits Solomon. Solomon pulled down at the 43-yard line by Doig, the middle linebacker, or he'd have been gone.
Looked like the Lions were in a zone at a time, and Montana and Solomon hooked up right in between it. This is the easiest throw that the quarterback has to make, a slant-in pattern right here. He can see it well. It's right in front of him, and he had it right on the numbers to Solomon.
And Freddie is an extremely smart, crafty receiver, you know it? Good play by the group. Solomon from Montana. Straight drive play. Wendell Tyler. Pretty good defense up front that time. Give Wendell a couple of yards. Doug English making a tackle. Don't forget college football starting September the 15th on CBS Sports.
I'll tell you, Brookie, that one could be a preview of the Rose Bowl. It's going to be played out in Pasadena in January. Those 2 teams are good.
Pac-10, Washington Huskies, they went to a bowl last year. And, of course, the Michigan Wolverines from the Big Ten. 12 o'clock Eastern time right here on CBS. Our 3rd shot at it, and we love college football, too. 2nd down and 9. Wendell Tyler inside the 40, barely. William Gay chasing him down from the far side, and Cobb. There's the big fellow that picked up the Montana fumble and thought he was Crazy Legs Elroy Hirsch for a few yards.
Originally came as a tight end. We talked about his speed when he was running with that fumble. He is very quick because he was drafted as a tight end.
By Denver, I think, for some reason. He's a good player, and he puts on a good pass rush. Big play right now. 3rd down. Call it 6. Francis in motion. Montana reloading. He's got Clark. What a 1st down catch. Those 2 know each other so well.
How many times have you seen that? Clark went down, found a dead spot, hooked, and Montana, like you said, almost has a feel for where he is. Doesn't have to be looking that way.
He's always ready to throw it, too, and it looks like, he doesn't have to reload it.
Watch Dwight Clark now. He'll be coming from the left of your screen. Right there. Watch nobody there. Look, watch him hook up right here when he sees himself free. Waits for Montana. His body English tells Montana that he's ready.
We'll talk about his knee in just a moment. 1st down play. The 49ers are hot. Monroe. Carl Monroe really hit hard at about the line of scrimmage. English and Doig. There's Doug English, the big Texan. A great stunner from that inside position, a fine football player. New Orleans still 7-5 over Atlanta in the 2nd period. San Diego with another touchdown, laying it on the Vikings 14-3. New England 14, Buffalo nothing. Look out for New England. 2nd down 10, Montana. Nehemiah inside the 20 to the 16, and a pretty good pull-up by number 83. Pretty smart little pattern.
Well, they always give him a little cushion. He comes in the game, and they look over there, and they know it's a guy that ran the 110-meter hurdles in 12.9, so they don't play him real tight. And he catches a lot of balls right in this middle area here. He runs hook patterns, and because they have cushioned him a little bit when he comes off the line, he's been open a lot.
I thought after he got knocked out in Atlanta, he might never run a crossing pattern again, but he's coming in there once in a while, huh?
I'll tell you what, Brookie, that was some shot he took last year.
Good catch in 84. Here's the handoff to Tyler. Wendell Tyler dives into the 12-yard line. You know, Wendell Tyler's another guy that doesn't save anything for the junior-senior prom. He gives you everything he's got, doesn't he, from the first game on?
He got over 800 yards for the Niners last year, you know, and that's what they wanted. They thought they could get him close to 1,000, but in a way, it wasn't a real good year for Wendell because he did lose the ball in some critical situations for him, but I think they've got that resolved. I think they've learned the fact that they're going to have to live with that if they're going to have to live with Wendell Tyler.
Take some of the good, a lot of the good, huh? With a little bad.
Don't dwell on that bad aspect.
Second down, 7. Montana driving the 49ers. Opens Clark at the 5. Clark to the 2. He's double teamed there. Watkins and Graham, but not before he's taken them goal to go.
Now remember the last time on that pattern we showed you, Dwight Clark came over the middle and then hooked up. Montana hit him over the middle. This time he starts in over the middle, looks like he's going to hook up again. He pivots and comes back outside, and he has a step on number 27, Watkins.
Good pass blocking, too. Farnhorst and Cross and those people really stopped him on the line of scrimmage, gave him the time. Russ Francis is in. Also Cooper's in. Short yardage. First and goal from the 3. Tyler. Touchdown, San Francisco, standing. Bubba Paris, the big second-year tackle. Some block on that left side.
John Ayers over there, too, at guard, and Cooper was the lead man in motion, and you know they're getting a good job done over there. Now watch, Wendell Tyler basically doesn't get touched. Now look at good job there by 33, Craig, too, on the lead block. Wendell bounces out. Really didn't have to break a tackle to get in the end zone. They cleaned him up over there.
Looked like a couple of tackles were made while they were blocking, but they did a good job of clearing everybody out of there. Wershing to kick the extra point. Number 16 is holding. Montana scrapes it up and puts it there. A signal by Bob Frederick. It's good. We've got a real good ball game here. First one out of the box. We told you it's going to be like a playoff game. San Francisco 14, Detroit 10. Joe Montana is on the earpiece over there. Look at those numbers.
Pretty good numbers for a guy who was a touch under the weather yesterday afternoon after the Lions practice here at the Silverdome. He went and had to closet himself.
9 of 10. Kickoff by Wershing. Robbie Martin at the 5. Martin gets away from a couple of people and drags people to the 22-yard line. 4:51 left before halftime. A 14-10 ball game. We'll be right back. We're indoors. We're in that beautiful Silverdome in Pontiac. But it's hot in here. It's 70-something degrees outside. It might be 95 in here. Billy Sims being caught and dragged down at the 22-yard line. That's Stuckey, formerly of Clemson. He's really beefed himself up. Now, what are they going to do about the Dean situation out in San Francisco? I know the talk is that he only wants about $1 million for 20 plays a game, but he is the greatest pass rusher around.
Well, he is, and I really don't know what they're going to do. They said they've made their last offer, so I guess the ball is in Dean's court right now.
It's an expensive game. Second down and 11. Gary Danielson, the quarterback for Detroit. Across the middle. Pitts Lewis is tied in. David Lewis, the rookie, made a good catch at the 31. Danielson looks like he's handling it pretty well. There's the number 2 quarterback who played most of the game last week against Cincinnati. There's Eric Hipple.
He might even beat number 3 or 4, Brookie, because they got a ton of them. Mike Machurik, Hipple, Danielson, and a rookie by the name of John Witkowski, a 4-man quarterback controversy, as you see Machurik there. And Monty said when he named Danielson as the starting quarterback, it wasn't a lifetime appointment.
Machurik and then the kid from Columbia, Witkowski, right? And we said 10% of the squad's at quarterbacks.
I'll tell you, that's a lot of pressure on all 4 of those people.
A lot of headsets from the sideline. Here's the inside drive. Billy Sims stacked up. Good defense by Stuckey. Stuckey and Tua Sissoko. came under. They did a heck of a job from the right side. I don't believe he made a yard. Boy, your short yardage and Billy Sims can't get a yard. That's tough. 3 minutes left before halftime. The Lions have battled very evenly with the 49ers, but the 49ers really look to me like they're very poised. They don't get shook about anything. There's young Mike Black, the second-year man from Arizona State, for his second kick. McLemore is back to run it back. A little bit of a problem for San Francisco has been their special teams punting both ways. Here's Black. This is a good kick. McLemore at the 26. McLemore at the 27. David Jones down under that, the snapper. A 43-yard punt, a 7-yard return. We got 2.5 minutes left before half. Monty Clark on the sidelines, played with the San Francisco 49ers after collegiately played at SC, but he hadn't lost his heart there, not right now. He even coached there. Montana is sacked at the 24-yard line. Curtis Green in at left tackle making the sack.
Almost surprised to see him in there. He pulled a hamstring about the very first practice at training camp and hasn't done a thing since. Curtis Green right there with a good surge up the middle.
Boy, he threw cross right over his shoulder, didn't he?
You see the result. First
sack. Montana did fumble once when he was being hit from behind by Kofor. There's Green, who hadn't played much until today. It's funny how these war horses come out when the game gets started and they start lathering up and taping up, they play.
Well, it's funny how those other teams spot those rookies in there too, because Eric Williams was the rookie that was starting in front of Curtis Green.
2-minute warning. There it is, Wayne. San Francisco 14, Detroit 10. Brookshire and Walker, Pontiac, Michigan, the Silver Dome. Heck of a ball yard, a lot different than what we used to play on, Wayne, but here's Montana, 2 minutes left. Oh, throws it in the flat. Intended for Craig, and it's probably a good thing he didn't catch it. Don't forget, coming up at halftime, the NFL Today, the group's back in the New York studio waiting. Brent and Irv with the scores and highlights. Now look at today's U.S. Open, the tennis action, the very best in the world. Coming up at halftime. Russ Francis comes back in, speaking of the best in the world. For a while, though, he's sort of been dormant, but I think he's coming on now to really become a valuable property. Third down and 18 to go. The dash and roll. Montana across the middle. One hop into Clark.
You don't see number 16 make that kind of throw too often.
Pretty careful with that one, wasn't he? He's got the lowest interception percentage darn near in the history of this league. It's 2.6 or something. They did out of every 100 throws or interceptions.
He is the highest rated career passer that the National Football League has ever seen in that complicated rating system of theirs.
Here's Tom Oro's, his first punt. He drives this one. The punting battle won by Oro's. Back Robbie Martin at the 20. Martin to the 28-yard line. A big punt, a 51-yard punt, a 4-yard return. The Lions offense is coming on the field.
Lions first and 10 to Detroit.
1:38 on the clock here. When the Super Bowl was played a few years ago and San Francisco won. Gary Danielson with one back behind him. That's Jones in motion. Sims is the back. He stayed in the block. And Danielson goes down to 20-yard line. Good sack by Board. Dwayne Board coming quickly.
Danielson sacked by Dwayne Board.
Number 76 is Dwayne Board, working against Homer Elias, number 61. Took him outside, took him inside, and he is perhaps their best all-around defensive lineman.
Again,
Probably not even perhaps. I'd just go ahead and say he is.
Of course, though, with Dean on the team, it gives you the luxury of having another great pass rusher to put anywhere along in a four-man front, huh? 57 sacks a year ago. That was second in the league. They may be better than that if they get Dean back this year. Here's the screen by Danielson. That's Billy Sims with the ball at the 20. Sims dragged down at the 28-yard line. Hicks made the tackle there. You want to grab him and get help.
I tell you, there's nothing scarier in your life as a defensive player to look over and see Billy Sims getting the ball or somebody like him in the open field. Good job by Danielson on the screen. Held it a long time, a deep drop, and now there's three big guys out in front of number 20, and you got problems. But they reacted extremely well. Dwight Hicks, number 22, was the one holding on for help.
Solid-looking defense, though. Those linemen smelled it and almost got into it. 54 seconds left before half. The big second-year tackle, Rich Stringer, the Michigan alumnus, is heading for the dressing room in that mechanized hospital cart. We hope that knee injury is not serious. But halftime, they want to get him in there a little early. It's a 3rd down and 10 facing Danielson. He's in the shotgun. 54 seconds left. Chadwick comes into the slot. He's coming across. It's Chadwick at the 35 to the 40. Does he get out of bounds? No, he's going to keep the clock going. Remember, Eddie Murray has a 54-yard field goal. In fact, he did it against San Francisco last year in the playoff game. So Danielson finally gets the timeout call, and he's mad.
They lost some seconds there. That's what Gary's upset about.
About 10 seconds before they got it.
Tell you, a lot of pressure on him today. You know, with all that controversy swirling around here about who's going to be the quarterback, he said, I can't let it bother me. I'm kind of used to it. He said, I think my strength as a person is my resiliency. He said, I've been used to it, and I haven't had an easy career. He said, nothing's really been easy for me, so I can really accept that. He said, I don't need their backing going into this game. He said, what I want to do is I want to have their backing when I come out of it.
Dynamite. You know, I liked what Monty Clark told us after the playoff game when he had 5 INTs against San Francisco. He called him up and he said, you know something, Gary, you really grew up. You did a heck of a job. You took the responsibility, and you really did a job, and I'm proud of you. And I think it's helped their relationship, don't you?
Yes, it did. I think Monty has a lot more respect for Danielson than he had before, and even though, you know, Gary didn't step right out and win that job in the preseason, I think Monty always kind of knew that he had him as an ace in the hole.
Billy Nelson is standing right behind Monty Clark on the sidelines. Billy, a former quarterback himself, and he will really help. He's in his first year working with the quarterbacks, and I think he'll help Gary and those people. A 1st and 10 now with 34 seconds left and 2 timeouts. Each team has 2 left. Danielson with a lot of time. He's going to run with it. He's in the San Francisco territory at the 45-yard line. McLemore forced him out there.
I asked Gary, I said, Gary, you know, because you're on the hot spot out there, will you take it easy? Will you be careful with your passes and things like that? And he said, no. He said, I'm a reactor. He said, what I see out there, I'll react to. I don't want to do too much thinking out there. He did some good thinking here.
Stop that clock. Still got 26 seconds left, and he's got a 1st down now. And now any more 1 or more completions, and Eddie Murray, bad back and all, will come in and give it a strong shot before half. 14-10, San Francisco leads by 4. Shotgun. That's Nichols. Uh-oh. The clock's gone. Too much time used up.
Delay on the offense.
Not a very popular decision here at the Silverdome. Don't forget, it all starts at halftime. The NFL Today group, they're waiting back in New York. Brent and Irv with the scores and the highlights. And, of course, a look at today's U.S. Open tennis action. Boy, they're out there in New York, and they're playing up a storm. We can't wait ourselves. The NFL Today group, that's at half. 25 seconds from now. Shotgun on 1st and 15. Got some pressure, the screen. Out to J.J. Jimmy Jones breaks the tackle and gets to the 37-yard line. The timeout's been called with 15 seconds left. I'll tell you, that big fella runs like a small scat back.
You could almost see what they were talking about on that play when they talked about his vision.
Detroit wants desperately a field goal shot. They may get it. And the Boilermakers back from talking with Nelson and Monty Clark. What does Danielson have there?
Pretty good first half for a guy on a tightrope. He is 7 of 8 for 64 yards.
And Lord, he's run for a couple of first downs, too. Pretty good job. And they are going against one of the good football teams. It's a 3rd down and 4. I believe that's 2nd down and 4. It is. A shotgun. The scoreboard's wrong. Oh, Chadwick has it and can't hold on at the 30. Turner made sure that Chadwick didn't put that one away. That would have given Murray a field goal chance there.
Tina Turner can close on that ball when it's in the air for a linebacker. He may have almost got a hand or hit Chadwick just as the ball got there to strip that ball away. Number 58 right there makes as many big plays from the outside linebacker positions as I suppose anybody this side of Lawrence Taylor.
He's quick too. Huh?
Can run.
3rd down and 4. 3rd down and 4. The shotgun. Danielson needs another completion. Nichols catches it at the 25. It's good, and it will stop the clock.
Yeah, they've got to get their field goal team out there now. That was a great throw and a great catch that time.
I wondered if he could get his feet down in time. He seemed to drag him across.
Out of the shotgun. Now, Mark Nichols was the #1 draft choice here in Detroit a couple years ago. He had progressed a lot slower than they wanted him to. He had a good preseason, and they feel right now that he's on the verge of breaking out, and he showed their why there.
This is going to be a field goal attempt from around, it'll be a 43-yarder, I believe. As we've said, Eddie only missed 2 between 40 and 50 a year ago, and he missed nothing up to 40. Right down the pipe. Bad back at all. We've got a 1-pointer with 3 seconds left. San Francisco 14, Detroit 13. You betcha. Danielson is happy indeed.
Wasn't it funny what Danielson said? He said, going out there knowing if you don't perform really well, he said it's like going over and playing Oakland Hills or the TPC, one of those real tough golf courses with only 1 golf ball, because if you lose that ball, you're through.
Actually, he didn't find out he was going to be the starting quarterback until like Monday, wasn't it?
That's right.
Because Machurik, of course, started most of the preseason and then is on the bench. Don't forget, next Sunday, it starts with the NFL Today, and then CBS brings you Dallas against the Giants, and they never have liked one another. Green Bay and the Los Angeles Raiders. Nobody likes the Raiders anymore. Detroit against Atlanta, and Minnesota goes against the Eagles. 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on CBS. Don't forget, it starts with the NFL Today. The Giants 14-6 over Philadelphia. The Eagles with only 2 field goals to show, and they thought they had their offense untracked. Here's Eddie Murray's kickoff from the 35. It's a squib. Taken by McLemore, and he'll get out of bounds, and that should be the last play of the first half. The 49ers are up. And Detroit's heading to the same entrance and exitway. They've only got a point between them. That's the end of the first half. A score, San Francisco 14, Detroit 13.
Is sponsored by Chevrolet, with performance, style, innovation, quality, and the value that make up today's Chevrolet. Apple Computer, makers of the new Apple IIc, a serious computer of incredible proportions. And by Quaker State Motor Oil, now in new easy-to-pour and easy-to-reseal plastic bottles.
Welcome back to New York. I'm Brad Musburger with Irv Cross. And Irv, let's take everybody to the scoreboard, get them up to date. If you've got a fantasy league, get those pens and pencils out. Here come the scores and the distances. 19-14, Falcons lead the Saints right now. They are in the second quarter. Hey, watch Rick Bryan here. Rookie from Oklahoma is going to take Richard Todd down in the end zone. Going to be a safety for Atlanta. You got to throw the ball quicker than that. Then it was Todd. He said, I'm not going to throw it this time. I'm going to pitch it to the bull. Get in there, George Rogers. And he does, 3 yards out. And Atlanta, at the time, trailed only 7-5. Then what happened to this next player?
Because Steve Bartkowski had a great year last year, Brent, leading the league in passing percentage. Hits Alfred Jackson on the hook. Goes upfield. Now watch very carefully. He has to cross the goal line in order to score. Does he cross or not? Ball's hit right there. I don't think he scored. He won and protested, but to no avail.
Here's Todd again, Irv, and this time he goes into the end zone to Teron Young, and it was 19-14 as Atlanta came back and scored again, and here it is, Gerald Riggs. This was 4th and 1, and he got in from the 3-yard line, and of course, you know the story about Gerald Riggs. He has to replace William Andrews, who suffered that serious knee injury. Now, Miami and Washington, what a shootout this is. At last check, quarterback Dan Marino had 12 of 15 for 182 yards, 2 touchdowns to Mark Duper, 26 yards and 74 yards. Green Bay and St. Louis, and the Cardinals trail it by 7. Len Dickey has thrown another touchdown pass in there for Forrest Gregg. Watch the snap taken by the short man here. Look at it. Stump Mitchell fooled the Packers completely. 26-yard gain right there. Then it was our guy, Neil Lomax. You really like the Cardinals this year, don't you?
I really do. Strong arm. Watch this pass to Pat Tilley. Great concentration, stepping in for the 15-yard touchdown.
Then Dickey came back, and he went 4 yards to his tight end, Paul Kaufman, for Forrest Gregg, and that put them ahead, 14-7. And you can see Dickey right now, waiting, pop over the middle, touchdown. All right, moving along now to San Diego and Minnesota. It is 14-3, 2 touchdown passes by Dan Fouts, both to Wes Chandler, 21 yards and 18 yards. Tampa Bay leading Chicago. It was the big scoring strike here, 7-6, 2 field goals for the Bears. And watch Jack Thompson. He dropped back, and he shakes off Richard Dent, goes long here to Gerald Carver. And this is a 75-yard Buccaneer touchdown. I think I said Carver. I see Gerald Carter up there. I must have pronounced that one incorrectly. Early in the season. All right, Kansas City and Pittsburgh. It is 24-10. Chiefs over the Steelers. Philadelphia and the Giants right now. Giants lead at 14-6. They are in the second quarter of that one over in the Meadowlands. And watch Phil Simms go to Zeke Mowat over the middle for a touchdown. We updated this play earlier in the afternoon. And it was 7-0 after the extra point. That was 3rd down right there. Then, Irv, who is this Byron Williams that he wants to find?
Boy, I tell you, he really hurts the Eagles on this long pass. You'll see it in a few seconds. The Eagles feel that in order to be competitive, of course, they can't give up the long pass. Everybody tries to do that in the National Football League. But Byron Williams, good concentration, hangs on for a 65-yarder. It really broke the Eagles' back.
All right, Irvin, we've got another score from the AFC, the New England Patriots. A lot of folks like this team. 21-3 they lead. Grogan went 65 yards to Stephen Starring, and Tony Collins scored on a 4-yard run in there for them. And, of course, the game you're watching right now, and that has San Francisco ahead of Detroit by a single point at 14-13. You know, earlier today on the NFL Today, we spoke to Dallas Cowboy coach Tom Landry about that difficult decision to switch from Danny White to Gary Hogaboom as the Cowboys' starting quarterback. I suggested to Landry that the mood he showed earlier in the week at the news conference suggested he was thinking about retiring at the end of this season.
Well, of course, anything's possible, Brent, but, you know, I don't anticipate it. I feel very good now, except my voice is kind of messed up today, but I feel good. It was a tough decision, though.
And let me update this score for you right now. Over in the Meadowlands in New Jersey, you can see that the Giants are ahead of the Eagles, and it is 14-6. There in the second quarter, and here is Simms. Throwing into the corner. Touchdown. And, you know, we will continue here with the NFL Today on CBS right after these messages from your local stations. All right, we've got the Giants score squared away now. They kicked the extra point after they scored on that touchdown pass you saw. It is 21-6 over in the Meadowlands. Now, you know, this is another busy round of tennis action coming up later this afternoon, our coverage of the U.S. Open. Among those playing today will be Jimmy Connors, who is going for his 3rd straight U.S. Open singles title. Now, we have more on that story from Pat O'Brien.
Thank you, Brent. The big story thus far today here at the National Tennis Center. Top-seeded John McEnroe advances as expected with a straight-set win over Kevin Moyer of South Africa. Now, it had been anticipated that McEnroe would face Kevin Curran, but but Curran had a sprained ankle and defaulted to Moyer. So let's look at John McEnroe's part of the draw. John becomes the first player in his quarter to advance to the round of 16. He'll now play either John Fitzgerald or Robert Green. McEnroe in his 8th U.S. Open looks as strong as ever. Probably the best point of this match right here. A reminder that following football, we'll have Jimmy Connors live, our birthday boy, against hard-hitting Henri Lacan of France. We'll see you later, Brent.
What a remarkable point that was out there earlier, and I'm sure we'll have more just like that. Right now, let's send you back to the Silverdome in Detroit.
Well, there's the score, everyone. I guess the coaches in each dressing room will say, can't you play a little bit better? But it's 14-13, of course, San Francisco leading Detroit. San Francisco, the quarterback, Montana, even after the opening fumble, he didn't seem to lose it. You know, I know he's poised and he's cool and he's won a Super Bowl, but he really was calm under the heat. So was Gary.
Well, I think so, but I know what I'm really sure what they both want to do coming out in the second half is you saw the stats and the yardage isn't up there. They've got to at least try to get the ball downfield a little bit more. If it's not complete, it's at least going to stretch the defense and get the defense thinking about going deep, and they've got to do that.
There are the numbers. Joe was 9 of a dozen, 110 yards at TD, no interceptions, 1 fumble, but look at the numbers on Danielson.
Danielson's got to be happy with it half, but he's also got to get the ball downfield a little bit more, especially, now keep in mind that both Ronnie Lott and Eric Wright are out, the starting all-pro cornerbacks for San Francisco.
And the running backs, Wendell Tyler came out very quickly, as we said, getting the line of scrimmage, picked up 40 yards on 9 carries. Billy Sims got a lot of action early in the first quarter and then dictated otherwise that they sort of throw the ball a little bit.
I think you got to get the ball to him a little bit more, and I think the 49ers feel, and they kind of went away from it too, that they could probably run on the Lions, especially up the middle.
And the thing we ought to always keep in mind is that Detroit, even though they lost that game in the playoff a year ago and 5 interceptions that were suffered by Danielson, the Lions moved the football very well in that losing game out at Candlestick Park.
No question. As I mentioned, Gary Danielson had 5 interceptions in that game, so, you know, it wasn't the Niners that were stopping them. They were stopping themselves.
Well, I'm glad we're here. You know what? We'll be back in just a bit with the second half. It should be a beauty. It's 14-13, and the coach, Walsh, is out on the field, and Monty Clark's team is coming out now. The starters are warming up. These aren't bullpenners. That's Gary Danielson, the quarterback of the day, of the moment for the Lions. And, of course, Joe Montana is on the other sidelines, and he will be ready to go right away because the 49ers will take the ball. Bill Ring is back to accept it. And, of course, Eddie Murray is kicking off. Number 30, Ring at the goal line. A good kickoff. Ring is a sturdy, tough person and gets it out to the 27-yard line with a burst. We'll set the second half lineups, and these two teams just battled pillar to post. First downs pretty even. Yards rushing, a little edge to Detroit. Passing, a little edge to San Francisco.
Yeah, you just kind of get the feeling that no knockdowns yet. They just staggered each other a couple times.
And, of course, the awful word turnover is what probably will decide this contest in the third or fourth period. I think this one's going to go down in that fourth period. Clark is out, flank to the right, Solomon to the top of your screen. The play action, Montana dumps it off to the side. That's Craig. Craig comes out over the 40, is hit hard, runs through a couple of Lions. That was Graham that sort of got up holding his shoulder and head.
That's Roger Craig. He's actually the one that they fake the draw to. He kind of holds up a count and then filters out here in the flat. Clark had taken Bobby Watkins, the cornerback, deep with his pattern. So it kind of left him on the linebacker again, and that's tough business.
And I'm told that nobody does it better than San Francisco at isolating some linebacker on somebody he doesn't want to get near. The fake handoff, play action again. Montana waiting the crossing pattern. Through Francis's hands and out. Montana gets knocked down. He unloaded it, and he didn't take anything off of that one, but it was catchable. English may have gotten through, and finished off the former Notre Dame quarterback.
Second down, 10 at 41.
They don't even feel that. That's just getting the second half started. Jumpstart my heart. That's to get hit is good. There's Doug English. Not large as defensive tackles go, just very, very good. Second down and 10. Francis is the motion man. Running weak side is Craig. He is going to be thrown for a big loss by Mike Cofer.
Now they're high on number 66 here in Detroit, especially head coach Monty Clark. He was drafted as a linebacker at great speed, played linebacker at Tennessee. They bulked him up and got him in there at defensive end, and they said he has a world of ability. It's just a matter of whether it all comes to the front or not for him.
And Bubba Parrish, in all fairness, is only in his second year and sort of learning things, and this is a very quick defensive end he's working to get today.
Bubba Parrish had a fine year for the 49ers last year.
Third down and 17. Nehemiah is to the bottom of the screen, and Wilson's in too. Montana across the middle, in and out of Francis's hands, and that time he was looking around for number 35 to see where he was, Alvin Hall. Francis is 0 for 2 in this second half. Oro's coming in to kick. Robbie Martin. The Lions were the best punt returning team in the conference last year. That's a high hang time, almost blocked. Martin fair catching at the 30. The 49ers had a couple of punts blocked during the preseason, but that was Skladany, and Oro's is barely able to inhale himself. San Francisco 14, Detroit 13 in the third. Inside the Silver Dome, the defensive line resting. There's Big Doug English. Some facility here, though. We played racquetball in between practices. These players have everything they need to get ready for a game. First and 10 now. That's Jones in motion, the fullback. And Tia Sosopo may have been offsides and jumped a little early. Manu is holding his head like they caught me. The flags were down early. Tell you, when the big fella comes over the reef, you can't get all that back on your side of the line of scrimmage at 260.
Just anxiety. Says you often wonder, you know, how can a nose tackle be offside? Because he's right over the ball.
Look at him. And what would amaze me is having to look into his eyes and think he's coming and maybe they wouldn't catch him.
78 on the defense was offside. Number 70 on the offense was holding. And the down will be replayed, and the penalties canceled. The down will be replayed.
How can you hold if the play is dead? Well, that's one I can't figure out. Anyway, Manu Tuiasosopo, the...
Let me hear that again.
I got as close as I could get with that. Manu knows that I am with him.
Explained it to him yesterday, right?
It's going to be played over. First and 10. Good call by Bob Frederick and company. Billy Sims has been very quiet. Inside handoff to J.J. Jones gets to the 34.5-yard line. Stuckey making the tackle at that spot.
Still have in on both sides in the Niners' first offensive series, and so far here for Detroit, very conservative play calling. And keep in mind, those plays aren't the quarterback's plays. They're coming from the sideline.
And now second down. Call it 5. Detroit in their own territory. 12:32 left in the third period. And the Lions trail by a point. Leonard Thompson is in the game, flanked to the bottom of the screen. Thompson has it at the 38. Now he's back to the 35. Now he's back to the 32. Keena Turner really stuck him. You made an interesting comment the other night. You made a lot of them, but one of them I liked was when you said in a few years we may be in what they call a 6-5 defense. You might have almost virtually a 6-man line with 5 safety men almost behind them up.
Well, you know, speaking from an old defensive player standpoint, if they keep changing the rules to help the offense, you're going to have to switch things up some way. with 6 big guys up there like Louis Kelcher and then 5 guys back in the secondary like Ronnie Lott, you might have yourself going something.
Sounds pretty good right now. Maybe it's right upon us. 3rd down and 3 to go. Looked like maybe the 49ers were offsides, and Thompson is hit with an elbow at the 46 and dropped. Dwight Hicks really hit Leonard Thompson coming across the middle. And I believe Williamson might have just jumped a little bit prematurely at the top of the screen. Offsides.
Well, you might wonder why Gary Danielson threw this one down the middle. Pretty dangerous throw, but he knew he had it free because of the penalty. Ooh. But Dwight Hicks laid the wood on Leonard Thompson.
Well, I saw Leonard get hit in the Green Bay game a year ago, and they turned the lights out on him. Well, that's pretty dangerous, and he's a tough guy coming across the middle. Hicks and those people know you got to lay wood on them when they come through there. Thompson and Nichols in the game. That's Jones and Sims. Danielson dumps it out to Jones at the 40. Jones to the 45. Billy Sims was breaking wide open.
Billy Sims was 25 yards downfield, about 4 steps behind Dan Bunce, and Danielson didn't see him.
The luck of the draw is Hacksaw Reynolds makes a good tackle on Jones.
That's right. It's just a guessing game out there. Sometimes you win it, sometimes you lose it.
How early does Hacksaw put on his jersey before games? I got so confused when he was explaining that to me. I didn't know. He puts it on at the same time every morning, no matter what time zone he's in?
He wants it to be on, what was it, 9:36, 20 seconds.
It's like to have him sitting across the breakfast table, probably in his jersey. That might send you into a little fright. 2nd down, 7. Jenkins in there. Danielson, quick drop. Diving catch by Lewis. Now he gets up. He wasn't touchdown, but the official said he was down at the 42-yard line.
That's the #1 draft choice from Cal Berkeley, David Lewis, big tight end, 6'4", 240 pounds, and with enough speed. And in college, he played a lot of wide receiver, a lot of wide out. Remember we talked earlier about this being the quarterback's easiest throw? That's a dart in there.
I had the fullback in there, too, to get that linebacker out of his way.
Influenced him down inside a little bit.
He does have good speed, doesn't he? He looks like Kellen Winslow a little bit, the way he walks and all, you know, big, angular fella. It's quite a comparison. Billy Sims is back. He's the only back behind Danielson. And he gets the ball on a misdirection off the right side, breaks the tackle. 1st down, Detroit, inside the 25. Turner finally stopping Billy Sims.
You'll see it from ground level here, and you'll just see the effort. You know, as we say, a picture's worth 1,000 words, kind of a counter step, and then the action over to the right side. Sims told us, I don't want to be a kind of guy that carries the ball 30, 40 times a game. You know, 20 is enough for me. I want to be fresh towards the end of it so I can do things like you're seeing right there.
And is he strong this year and bullish on Detroit? The money's in the bank. Everybody's happy. 1st down toss to Sims. He gets away from one tackler inside the 15 for the 7-yard line.
Remember, Brookie, when we were in a meeting with him the other day with Sims, and we asked him what his favorite play was? He said the toss outside. Here it is. He said, if I need 8 yards and I got one play to choose I could run it with, this would be it. Look at these cuts.
And you can't arm tackle him. 63 yards on 12 carries. And yes, Detroit loves him. 1st and goal. Jenkins in the game. Jenkins hit hard at the line of scrimmage. May have made a half a yard. 49ers did a lock and load that time and fired up the hole. Pillars making a tackle.
Well, Sims gets a 1-play rest, and he's going to be back in there.
Billy Nelson said he tried to get Sims out of the Cincinnati preseason game a week ago because they were getting blasted a little bit score-wise, and Billy said, no, I want to take some more series. I want to play a little bit more. He never holds anything back. once he gets the contract signed. Second down.
He signed enough on me at 2 at one time.
Second and goal from the 5. The toss back to Billy Sims. Doesn't get there. Maybe to the 2-yard line. Williamson and Ellison combining for the stop. Sims is slow to get up.
You notice that time on the toss, he was coming out there, how he waited and waited and let his blockers get out in front of him and make some kind of move. He wanted to react to the defense, to Williamson and Ellison. Watch him take his time now behind these pulls by the guards. He wants to see how the two guys, Williamson and Ellison, react, and they both did a good job, and Ricky Ellison made a saver right there.
Slipped in behind, didn't he? He's become quite a linebacker. Reynolds had some great things to say about him, you know.
Yeah, it's helped him playing next to number 64, too.
Jenkins now being moved around there by Jimmy Jones, and Jenkins turned out to be the one that was right. It's third down and 2. Danielson rolling. Touchdown to Jones. And the little man Jenkins got the block.
That time by the Lions, and number 30 has the 6 points.
What a good receiver he is. Does he run the nice pattern too, huh?
Led them in receiving last year as a rookie, was second in rushing.
Eddie Murray now for 124th in a row. Hipples the holder. What else? Well, we got a good football game.
Here's the score from the end zone. You see Jenkins, number 31, really get a saver block right here. Kept the pressure off Danielson. Jones, number 30, off the play action, had a couple steps.
Wow, pretty good leaping spike by JJ. 20-14. San Francisco gets the ball back. Six and a half minutes into this, are left in this third period, and the crowd is going up in waves. The Lion fans are finding this their kind of football team. Look at this. Eddie Murray's kicking off. Billy Ring is waiting for the ball, but this is going to be Monroe. Monroe hit hard at the 21 and dropped.
Boy, the veteran Dexter Bussey down there on a kickoff, 11 years in the league, still hustling. That's great.
And now the pressure goes on the San Francisco offensive team. 9 plays, 70 yards, 6.5 minutes, and a 2-yard touchdown pass, Danielson to Jones. Good-looking drive. Solomon to the bottom of the screen, Dwight Clark to the top, and Montana's your quarterback. Here's the reverse. Inside, Cooper for maybe a yard. Kofor was waiting.
On every play, someone's got reverse responsibility. It's usually the outside linebacker. It looked like this time it was number 66, the right end, Mike Kofor. There's Cooper, number 89, just got an end around. And look at 66 over there with the containment.
They're wearing a lot of T-shirts around here that says, "This is the year." It's awfully early, but they're playing a lot better. Montana back. Complete to Solomon, I believe, at the 32. Maybe enough. Alvin Hall tackled him immediately, but he might have gotten the first. It's going to be close. Good throw. The crowd becoming very vocal, and they are a part of this Detroit team this year. You play Detroit up here, you got to play tough. Over 60,000 tickets were sold for this one. It's third and a foot.
They get him stopped here, you'll hear something.
Over the top, Wendell Tyler has the first down, and I don't see any flags. History scoreboard flash. And what a ballpark. Clark coming out to the bottom of the screen on first down. Solomon's to the top of your screen. And you know who's the quarterback, don't you? Joe Montana. Play action. Oh, what a throw and catch. Cooper with a good catch, and he had to wait to put it away at the 44-yard line. Alvin Hall was right on his back.
Yeah, but it was a great throw, great touch throw, and you also got to give credit up front. Off the play action. Now, Montana had plenty of time to set up here. Look at that offensive line do a job. He didn't have anyone in front of him obstructing his vision, no hands in his face, so he could put that little touch on it right over the top to Earl Cooper, who, of course, is the converted fullback, running back 2 years ago. And he can stretch the defense a little bit from that tight end position. He's got fine speed.
2 first downs in a row. Did Detroit jump off sides? They were stunning. Here's the screen out in the flat. This is Monroe. Monroe to the 48-yard line. And I think San Francisco is going to maybe have the option if they got away with a free play. Kofor chased that down from behind, but it looked like Doug English might have jumped. They do a lot of twisting, don't they? A lot of what they call Floyd Peters stunts.
Yeah, they have a 4-man defensive line, and they'll overshift it, undershift it, and then cross the tackles and do stunts with the tackles and ends. It's a guessing game with the offensive lineman.
Number 78 on the defense was offside. First down will be repeated.
Doug English. Keep in mind now that the San Francisco 49ers man-to-man block.
In the circle, trying to get off that ball and maybe just get a little bit of an extra jump on his old friend John Ayers.
That's right, he's a Texas rattlesnake hunting buddy or something.
They were freshmen together at the University of Texas, John Ayers and Doug English.
Bill Walsh watching from the sidelines, 1st and 5. San Francisco still in their own territory. That's Tyler, maybe a yard and a half. Jimmy Williams in there quickly. And Alvin Hall. Scores from elsewhere around this league. They're burning today. A lot of fur flying. Green Bay 21-7 over St. Louis, and the Cardinals were the dark horse Eastern team this year in the NFC.
New coach for the Packers, Forrest Gregg.
They're more physical already. San Diego leading Minnesota comfortably in the 3rd quarter. New coach there, too. Washington trailing Miami 21-10. That was the blue plate special this week. Montana, quick draw to Craig. Craig inside the 40-yard line. A quick draw, and it caught Doig, I believe, or Jimmy Williams, perhaps trying to get quick drops.
Well, they shouldn't have been trying to get it out of there too quick when it was 2nd down and about 3, but I'll tell you, it's a real tough play for a young middle linebacker to handle. They set up like they're going to pass block and then usually send the center out on you and he cuts you. That would be Fred Quillen, but it was John Ayers downfield, number 68, that was working on Doig, the middle linebacker.
Boy, and Quillen is a smoothie, too. You talk about Mr. Finesse. He's as good as there is at offensive center. 1st and 10. Montana quickly out in the flat. That's Craig. Craig blasting inside the 30. Carrying the linebacker with him, Steve Doig.
On the linebacker, Gary Cobb out there in the flat. You know, when Bill Walsh first came to the 49ers, he told me that I could sit in on one of his offensive pass meetings his very first year with the team. I went in, I was there for about 10 minutes, and all of a sudden the thought went through my mind that I would hate to play outside linebacker against that offensive system because it'll just chew you up.
You're looking at Cobb. He was just discussing things with the safety man and the cornerback.
They can isolate you.
Bill Ring hunched up in there at fullback. Wendell Tyler behind him. This is Ring. Ring to the 25. And he is the fast starter. He gets to the hole very quickly. Kofor making the stop there. Pretty good player to have in your team, young Ring, huh?
Oh, he's pretty dependable. People's choice out there, I think, too, in the Bay Area. You know, their situation now here, rookie with the Lions, they're not getting the 49ers stopped on this drive with their regular base-type defense, and they're going to have to take a chance now, perhaps, and gamble and throw a safety up there on a blitz, or at least blitz one of the linebackers, or maybe 2 of them.
Montana's 13 of 18 for 152. Here's his 19th pass. It's blocked and knocked down by Cobb. The blitz, just like you called it, Wayne.
We take some chances when you do that, but you can also make some things happen. And when you're just sitting there in your base and they're blowing you off the ball and beating you do have to mix it up some.
I believe Cooper had broken into the end zone almost by himself. No, it's Freddie Solomon. But of course, when you can't deliver the ball into the end zone, you can do side straddle hops there and you still don't get any action. 3rd down and 7. A big, big play indeed right now. Montana with time. Through the hands of Dwight Clark. And McNorton was right there to knock it away. That little secondary's playing good.
You bet it is. Field goal attempt coming up now for the Lions, or rather for the 49ers. Ray Wershing on the field.
54 seconds left in this 3rd period. This will be a 42-yarder. Montana holding.
This guy's a machine, number 14.
He never looks up, huh? He just looks down for the hole is all. Guess what? Our game gets back to being very close indeed. He had to be the Pro Bowl kicker or somewhere, but nobody seemed to really give him all the acknowledgement, do they?
I think, without a question, he has been the last 2 or 3 years the most consistent kicker in the league.
There's the kicker's best friend, other than his loved ones and, of course, home life, but that's the football that they spend a lot of time with. And Wershing's one of the best. He'll kick off now. Robbie Martin from Cal Poly and Ken Jenkins from Bucknell wait for Detroit. It's a deep kick. At the goal line, that's Martin, one of the best in the league. Martin run out of bounds rudely at the 19-yard line. Good coverage by San Francisco. McLemore down under that quickly. Almost into the 4th period. Hey, don't go away. 20-17. Cobb, the linebacker, batted that ball out of Montana's hands a few plays ago, is on the sidelines. The defense is resting. And the offense they've set up is the same as the start of this game, except for Stringer. The big tackle has not come back. Diederich is in at left tackle. Misdirection, Billy Sims. Good defense. Maybe a couple of yards. Some other scores, some other areas. It can't be as good a game as we're seeing today. The Giants 21-6 over Philadelphia. These Giants still play tough defense, don't they? Atlanta trailing New Orleans by 2 now. Without Andrews, that would be an upset of prominence too, wouldn't it?
Gerald Riggs is a pretty good backup, though, for William Andrews.
Yeah, Lomax has gotten them going. Green Bay still on top 21-13, but will their defense play in the 4th period? Kansas City 24, Pittsburgh 17 in the 3rd. Opening day action. Misdirection again. Trapping play with Sims maybe getting a yard or so. As Tuiasosopo makes another great play from the nose tackle position, and that's the last play of this 3rd quarter. Hey, we got it humming. Don't go away, folks. We told you it was going to look like a playoff game.
Engines.
All right, first play of the 4th period, the final period. 15 minutes left, 20-17, Detroit leading the San Francisco 49ers. Shotgun formation on 3rd down and call it 6. It's Danielson, pretty good blocking up front. Nichols Chadwick is open on the outside running a corner pattern, and Gary Daniel just loaded one up and threw it out of there.
And they had Ronnie Lott in there, which is a good sign for the 49ers.
Chadwick, one of the fastest players, if not the fastest player on the Detroit team, looked like he was open in the corner, too. We'll bring on Mike Black, young man from Arizona State, the high-stepping kicker. McLemore will be back to take his punt. There's Black. McLemore, very dangerous. And David Jones is snapping. Good snap. This is a good punt. Black drove this one. McLemore back to the 25. A tackle on the 20. Great coverage by Roosevelt Barnes. A 53-yard punt, no return. We'll be right back. Tom Brookshire and Wayne Walker. Walker, the all-time longevity man in Detroit Lion history. Working with me today, and it's a lot of fun. First day, Montana going deep. In and out of Cooper's hands at the 45. A flag is dropped. Wow. A late flag. It looked like Cooper dropped it before anybody banged him. Coach Madden of the special teams on the sidelines for Detroit, wondering what hath God wrought.
Personal foul, number 33 on the defense. First down.
William Graham, keep in mind, it won't be at the point of the foul, so. But they're not happy about it in the Motor City.
Monty Clark not losing his cool, but voicing his displeasure. Wilson is in, and Nehemiah now. You got some speed. Montana quickly outside. Nehemiah steps out. It's a catch. That's the play you talked about, Wayne, where nobody can cover him on a quick out because he can run by you in a second. 4 yards for Nehemiah. He ran the 50 over hurdles faster than most guys do without hurdles in front of him. Don't forget, coming up next, the U.S. Open tennis, Jimmy Connors, Yimmy Connors we call him, against Andre Lecomte, live from Flushing Meadows, New York. Trabert and Patrick Summerall and the group are over there, and we can't wait to see that action. Clark and Nehemiah in together now. Clark here on the left side. And Cooper jumped early. Tyler makes the carry, but Earl's picking up that new position and just got a half a count head start.
There you see number 89, Earl Cooper. As we told you, he was the #1 draft choice for the 49ers 5 years ago.
See, out of Rice, huh?
Yeah.
I didn't even know they were still playing football. He's quite a player.
Illegal motion on the offense. Offside on the defense. They will cancel, and the down will be replayed.
That's to stabilize things. Bob Frederick makes the call. One team's asking who? What? We've got 14 and a half minutes left in a game that has been close all the way. And for an opening game, I can't remember one with fewer turnovers than this one by two good teams. Two playoff teams, 2nd down and 7. Montana. Handoff to Wendell Tyler. Oh, Tyler's hit hard at the 43-yard line. Cobb coming around. Doig getting in there, and Curtis Green. Gang tackling by Detroit.
Looked like it was looking good for the 49ers for a while as they got around the corner with Randy Cross leading, but good reactive defense by Detroit.
3rd and 3.
You can see the Detroit defense looking over to Eddie Kayet and company to find out what to do, and they allowed the fewest points in the NFC last year, the whole league last year, really, I guess. No, the NFC, Miami was a little bit better overall. Tough call, 3rd down and 3. Montana, as the flags are dropped. He's going to have to run for it. Look out. Montana hit and grounded at the 43 by Cobb and Green. The flags are down. Doug English might have been rearing up again early. An automatic first if it's on English, and it apparently...
Yeah, that's a killer for you on defense when you get them stopped. And then a penalty like that.
Doug is
on the first down. Excuse me, Brookie.
That's all. He's probably trying to run a stunt and trying to get a real quick release so he can clear for Green coming inside.
Defense was offside, number 78, and it will be a first down.
Well, that's the second time in a ball game that number 78, Doug English, has jumped off sides. You know, they're taught to key the ball, but they get edgy out there.
Close indeed, but most plays in pro football these days are close. The talent is at that level. Montana on first down now, almost into Detroit territory. Misdirection to Wendell Tyler, look out. Wendell Tyler, threatening to break away, is pulled down to 44 of Detroit.
Well,
let's go to New York now for an NFL update.
Brookie, the Eagles open up here against the Giants over in the Meadowlands. Ron Jaworski pulls out and looks for his favorite target. It is Mike Quick, and he's open down the left sideline. Quick has got it 39 yards. Wilbert Montgomery then scored from the 4-yard line. 21-13, and back to Brookie.
Well, I'm glad to hear my birds are still alive and flapping at any rate. Thank you, Brent, very much. Inside handoff. Craig, the Cornhusker, close to the sticks. And Russ Francis has some words with Cobb. Boy, there's a scene you see a lot. A tight end and a linebacker jawing with one another. Only a fine keeps them from getting more involved than that.
The only thing that brings them together is retirement.
They get along fine at the party, huh? A linebacker's life is not an easy one, but nobody said it was going to be easy. Third down and 2, 12.5 minutes left. Toss. Craig. First down inside the 40. Curtis Green making the stop there, but barely.
That was an effort first down by Roger Craig that time. Lions out there in pretty good shape defensively. Little Carl Monroe, number 32 on the lead block. He weighs about 160 pounds, and he's out there hurling his body around also. You can credit him.
Ball carriers weigh 218, and the little guy's blocking for him. And they do get it done. First and 10. Monroe and Craig in there together. A 3-point deficit facing San Francisco. Montana with a lot of time. Overthrowing Monroe at the 8-yard line. And Joe Montana did that a little the entire preseason this year, loading it up and just airing out above the hands a couple of games. Against San Diego, I noticed that.
It's a Lions secondary right here, and watch the pattern develop. But Cooper with Monroe trailing him right there. Cooper runs to the corner, and Monroe cuts off that towards the post, and he was wide open.
Play was there. Somebody sit down something in the press box, and the play was there. But you got to catch it. Second down and 10. Tyler's in motion. Craig. I got about 3.5 yards. Fawnhorst went out there and battled Gay all the way almost to the sidelines, and Gay still got back in and got part of the tackle. Green Bay 24-13. St. Louis coming back. Now they're stalled out a little bit as Green Bay comes up with a field goal. San Diego, big and rough out west, 28-3. Chicago on top of Tampa Bay, more comfortably at least, 20-7. Third down and 6. Big conversion at this point in the game. Montana being chased. The flags are down. Craig has the ball short of the first down. The flag was dropped back on the 44-yard line. Alvin Hall tackled Craig before he got to the sticks. Is this going to be holding?
Seems like it's back in that area.
Montana had to reload because of that good secondary coverage by Detroit.
There was offensive holding, and on the same play there was defensive holding, and the plays will cancel, and we will replay the third down.
Nobody totally agrees with everything.
Kofer is number 66, Bubba Paris 77, and you know, you can't tell anymore if anybody's doing anything wrong.
That didn't look like holding to me.
No, looked like he was taking measurements.
3rd down and 6. Montana rushed, good throw, and dropped by Cooper. Cobb and Hall were there, but Cooper flat dropped the football before putting it away.
Has not been a good day hanging on to the ball for the 49er tight ends. Russ Francis dropped a couple in the first half. Cooper here, watch Montana set up. He threw a bullet in there, and it should have been caught. That's Montana.
And that was a smooth throw right on. Now Wershing will be trying a 54-yard field goal.
He made a 54-yarder in practice by 10 yards. He was booming them.
Montana puts it down. It's a pretty good-looking kick. It's good.
He made that one by 5.
Hello there, tie game.
Oh, he's something. He is steady.
20-20. San Francisco, Detroit, 10.5 minutes left. Wayne Walker, you brought up a good point. We watched him warming up, and it was exactly 54 yards, and he banged it through by 10.
He knocked it up on that screen up there behind the goalpost in pregame warm-ups, and that was the longest field goal of Ray Wershing's career.
What a time to come up with it. We're all tied here in the Silverdome. Wershing's kickoff. This is a long kick, too. 5 yards deep in the end zone. Robbie Martin won't even run it out. All right, let's sit back for a minute now and just think about these two teams and what is facing Gary Danielson. All right, let's relax again. It's 20-all.
Today's cars do things yesterday's cars didn't.
Please fasten seatbelt.
Their smaller, higher-revving engines can break down an oil's viscosity within 1,500 miles. The tests show Castrol suffers no significant breakdown of viscosity even after 5,000 miles. So listen to your car.
Exceeding recommended RPM.
It may be telling you something. Castrol, engineered for smaller cars.
Going three-wheeling, it's my lucky day. Going three-wheeling, come on out and play.
Do you know why Honda makes 9 different kinds of easy-to-ride three-wheelers?
Going three-wheeling, got the Honda ATC.
So your family can have 100 different kinds of fun.
Going three-wheeling.
John Eric Hexum, Jennifer O'Neill, undercover agents on their own, helping Americans anywhere in the world. Cover Up, coming soon on CBS.
Early in the game, Eric Wright injured that left knee. Got to be one of the great cornerbacks around, and of course Ronnie Lott hasn't played either. I don't know how they managed it.
Lott has played, and he's in there now. He's spotted him a bit, and they've got him in there now. 1st and 10, toss to Billy Sims. Sims is hit and dragged down at the 21-yard line. Carlton Williamson up very quickly. So they're just running out of bodies back there in the defensive secondary, perhaps, rookie. I'd like to save Dana McLemore because he's a punt returner, their kick returner, and you don't want to take a chance with him. And if you can run Ronnie Lott out there, and even if he's not 100%, he's better off than some people that are. Nichols just came off the receiver for Detroit holding his toe. Now this is a good soft turf here in the Silverdome, but there are a lot of strain on ligaments and stuff. Sims has 66 yards on 15 carries. Danielson to Jones. Jimmy catches it. Ellison holds him to maybe a yard or so. Boy, that 49er defense tightened up. And here comes the nickel in now. This is what Danielson did not want to see. And they haven't seen a whole lot of it, mainly because of those injuries, because they didn't have enough defensive backs to play a nickel in a couple of situations. And so now the nickel, injured as it is for San Francisco, on the field. Danielson with 3rd and 6. 9 minutes left on the clock, a 20-20 tie.
Yeah, this is going to be a nail-biter. I have a strange feeling. Danielson from the shotgun. The blitz is on. He throws it. Billy Sims cannot hang on at the 45. Closely covered by Jeff Fuller.
Rookie, the 49ers drafted Jeff Fuller. And if you get a look at Gary Danielson, who really took a shot as a linebacker. He played at Texas A&M. They got him to minicamp. They ran him in a 40, and he ran 4.49. You know, except for Nehemiah and a couple people, that's as good as they have on the team. So at 6'2", 215 pounds, they started working him out at free safety. As you see Danielson get the shot here, and Fuller, 49, made a play.
What a throw he got off. I don't know how Danielson hit Sims in the hands with it. A great play, broken up by Fuller. A low kick by Black, taken by McLemore. McLemore gets away at the 40. Look out. McLemore tripped, gets away, tackled at the 7-yard line. I don't see any flags. What a punt return by McLemore.
He's been a pretty good one for the 49ers in the past couple of years. Always breaks a couple of long runs sometime during the season. Has that knack that you have to have back here of making the first guy miss. That first guy going by you right there, then you can do some business. And this is not something that he came by recently. University of Hawaii, he played the defensive back there and was also their punt returner. That's why they drafted him.
A 55-yard punt return by Dana McLemore. Touchdown as Wendell Tyler on the first play got the motor scooter going. Special team play has been bothering Bill Walsh all during preseason, and that may be what won this game.
Can strike extremely fast, as you just saw right here. Take a look, ground level. A little bit of a misdirection almost. Wendell looks like he probably should come over here behind the block by Roger Craig, 33, but he just took off to the right on his own with that, with the vision and the instinct that the great ones have, and he's in the end zone.
His second touchdown of a tough, hard-fought afternoon. Wersching's extra point, safely through, but a lot of time on the clock. Don't go away. Leave the refrigerator be for just a moment. San Francisco 27-20. There he is, the hero of the moment, McLemore. What a punt return. Almost scored, pulled down by Rubik, a big tight end that is a special team specialist.
Almost an afterthought draft choice, too. They got him in the 10th round, and
boy,
he's been a bonus for him.
They're deep in good, talented football and good people. Both teams are loaded with good, solid people. Wersching squibbing it so that Jenkins can't run it back. That's Robbie Martin that's chasing it out of the end zone. And now, can the Lions strike suddenly? Are they that kind of a team? That's what we're going to find out. You've got Sims and J.J. Jones and Chadwick and Nichols. And Monty Clark says, yeah, we got plenty of time, 8 minutes, 18 seconds.
Yeah, they really don't have to go all that quickly and try to get it all at once because they have time to work with.
Don't forget, next Sunday, the NFL Today starts us off, and then it's the Cowboys and the Giants, the Packers against the Los Angeles Raiders, Detroit motors to go against Atlanta, and Minnesota goes into the city of brotherly love. 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time for NFL football here on CBS, the very best, really. 1st and 10 now. Danielson, I formation. Back to throw on play action. Underthrowing Chadwick on the far side at the 40, and Danielson is knocked down again and helped up.
Had big pressure from Jim Stuckey that time, and that really caused the incompletion. If Danielson would have had another half second or so to set up here, now Stuckey's right in his face, and Danielson has to release a little bit before he wants. That's why.
Boy, you said it. Good call on it, and coming right where he was looking, trying to spot his receiver from, too.
Jim Stuckey was worried about his job. He was sweating out the last cut that the 49ers made. But he's always been a good hustler for him and basically done everything they've asked.
He's played well today. 2nd down and 10. Trailing by 7. Danielson Good throw and catch at the 38-yard line by Chadwick. Let's go to New York now for an update. Brent Musburger.
Rookie, if this first week is any indication, we're going to have a lot of touchdowns passing. Dan Marino, 5 TDs for Miami. Here's Steve Bartkowski again. He goes to Stacey Bailey. And now the Falcons, they lead 26-21. Let's go back to Brookie.
Dan Marino, the big Miami quarterback, taking apart the Washington Redskins.
This wasn't the play before. This was the last play. So Danielson's taken 3 great hits in about the last 5 minutes of this game, 2 in a row.
Getting to know Stuckey pretty well. 1st and 10, 7:25 left in the 4th and final quarter. Danielson underthrowing as he's again under pressure. Chadwick had no chance to even come for it. 2 49ers are strewing around Danielson, this time getting up.
This takes a lot of courage to stand in here and know you're going to get this kind of stuff. Stover is 72. 58 is Keena Turner. All 3 of them down. Stover, number 72, is still on the ground out there.
Danielson came out of the thing the best of the whole lot.
That is number 72 defensive end Jeff Stover, who is quite a story in himself. Did not play college football, was a shot putter at the University of Oregon. Got a free agent tryout from the 49ers, and at 275 pounds, he made it.
It's a rough sport. And Axar Reynolds, this young Jeff Stover being looked at and the knees checked. The arthroscope has been a great invention and a boon, but you still have knees, and the human body is the weakest place is probably the human knee. Danielson being chased, dumps it off to J.J. Jones has it to the 45 and stops the clock stepping out with 7:10 on the clock. Far short of a first down because of the sack problems. Young Jim Fonhorst shoved him out there. Turned out to be quite a good young linebacker for San Francisco, huh?
They're really happy with the circumstances that brought him over from the USFL. That involved the Minnesota Vikings and offer sheets and those kind of things. Sound like an NBA deal almost.
I love it that his big brother, though, doesn't run around with him. He says, "Are you kidding? He's 7 years younger than I am. I have nothing in common with the kid."
He probably just doesn't want him tagging along.
That's it. Big play for Detroit. 3rd down and 4. They're in shotgun. Danielson. Good throw. Chadwick takes a shot. It's going to be close for the measurement at the 49.
Well, in this kind of thing, it might be decision time, too, for Monty Clark or Brookie. They might be just a little bit short.
They've got to go for it at this stage, don't you, with 7 minutes there?
Well, it all depends how much confidence you have in your defense.
Dwight Hicks really hit Chadwick, and nothing moved after they made contact. Monty Clark going over the ready list. Sometimes a foot can be a half mile. It's now or never.
Yep. Well, faint heart never filled a flush, right?
That's it. Danielson, 16 of 22. 128 yards. And he's been very careful. He's had a good day.
49ers making changes on defense, getting their short yardage situation in.
You want to see some bulked up people. Look at the line of scrimmage on this play. 6:53, and the clock is running here at the Silverdome. You call it, folks. Sims, he got it on the 3rd effort.
You see how low he got down when he got the ball? He was low. He was almost down on his hands and knees when he got the ball, looking for a seam, looking for a crack, and it looked for a minute like he might be stopped. Watch the surge by the 2 lines up front. Now watch Sims down here hide. Is he low or what here? He's back in behind. Look at this. Just looking for some little seam and found it.
Boy, Tuiasosopo really did some job at the nose penetrating on short yardage. You know, he almost got Sims in the backfield that time. 1st and 10, just inside San Francisco territory. High formation, Danielson on play action. Oh, almost intercepted. In and out of Billy Sims' hands, and Fonhorst had it for just a moment.
Sims in traffic over the middle. Danielson waits for him to slip out. Here he comes. They fake to him. He slips through, turns around. Ricky Ellison is there, number 50, and Fahnhorst going after Sims, and the ball was right on his numbers, but just couldn't react quite quickly enough.
And now that chess game goes on. What defense do you come in with on 2nd and 10 now? 5:53 on the clock. 5:53. You're pulling out all the stops. Don't forget the Lions love trick plays. 2nd down 10. Inside handoff to Billy Sims. Sims. Oh, what a gang tackling job by San Francisco. Right at the 49. Let's go to New York City for an NFL update. You got it, Brent.
Rookie, it's 3rd and 7 for your Eagles. They go to the shotgun against the Giants. It'll be Ron Jaworski, and he's looking for target number 1, and Quick's got it for a touchdown. And your Eagles now have pulled to within a point. 21-20. Back to Brookie.
Jaworski having a good start, sounds like. Marion Campbell has Ted Marchibroda as his offensive coordinator. That'll help Jaworski. All right, big play. It's 3rd down and 10 now. What do you got down there, Wayne? Shotgun time. Danielson wide open is Thompson at the 20. Leonard Thompson scores. Leonard Thompson ran the corner, and there was nobody there. Is this the year for Detroit? The people think so that have come to the Silverdome.
Rookie, that invariably will happen when a defense is playing without some of their key people, and they've lost the 2 cornerbacks, and there's changes, and guys are in that aren't used to other people's voices telling them where to pick up and where their help is coming from. And it was just confusion, I think, that time in the 49ers secondary because he was wide open.
A good throw by Danielson. Murray's extra point is good. We're all nodded again. And Leonard Thompson hasn't been in uniform for about 3 days.
Here it is right here. Danielson out of the shotgun. It'll be over the right-hand side of your screen. Danielson looking there right now and sees it. He didn't look anywhere else. And look at this. Just had to be a blown coverage back there. Missed communication somewhere along the line. And the result is 6 points for Detroit. 7 with the extra point. It's 27-all with plenty of time left.
Happiness is a touchdown pass in the 4th quarter. 27-all with 5:01 left.
Giving that extra effort makes winners. Be All You Can Be, sponsored by the U.S. Army. In 1982, rookie Mike Quick caught just 10 passes. But this Philadelphia Eagle flew into stardom in 1983 with 73 catches and a league-leading 1,409 aerial yards.
The pass is over the middle. Quick dives, touchdown, Eagle!
By striving to improve his gridiron performance, Mike Quick became the best he could be.
In today's Army, when artillery goes to the field, so does high technology.
All that you can be. Keep on reaching. Keep on growing.
Computers, laser-guided missiles, and teamwork honed to a split-second response. Only the Army gives you this kind of training with just a 2-year enlistment.
You can do it in the Army.
That 10-year veteran Leonard Thompson. What a TD. And the crowd is getting up in waves here in Pontiac, Michigan. The kickoff by Murray. It's a deep kick. That's Monroe at the goal line. Monroe still on his feet to the 26-yard line. Good return by San Francisco. And we've got 4 minutes and 51 seconds left yet to play. 9 plays, 80 yards, but the big number is 49. Good throw by Danielson, a blown coverage. But a touchdown.
Here's a guy right there who, over the past few seasons, has proven to be a master situation right now, bringing his team down the field in late stages of the ball game.
Here's the misdirection play to Craig. Craig over the 30 to the 32, high-stepping through the blue uniformed Lions down there. And these are two good defensive clubs we're looking at today. There's not like one of them is chopped chicken liver, you know what I mean? These are both good squads.
And they're a lot the same. They're not big overpowering defenses. They're just, they hustle, they react, they get to the ball, and they help each other out.
Craig picks up 7 yards, running right at Doug English. Solomon's to the bottom of the screen. Dwight Clark's to the top. Misdirection fake. Play action pass. Montana hits Francis. Francis to the 46-yard line, dragging Watkins with him.
Boy, Montana showing his ability to move around back there and make things happen. Play action fake. That's called a dash. He goes straight back and then dashes out to the right. Russ Francis here wide open, and this was almost an overmatch for Bobby Watkins, but he hung on.
What a great play to run at that time, though. You've got to be so calm in order to pull that off. The 49ers are tied with Detroit, and Montana has the ball. Wendell Tyler gets through a big hole. Wendell Tyler to the 33-yard line. Alvin Hall making the tackle. Good hole that time by Cross and Fahnhorst.
Cross and Fahnhorst and Roger Craig leading the way over on the right-hand side. And, you know, we're already in Ray Wersching's field goal range. We were when they crossed midfield today.
You see the clock. Well, it's going to be some season. 1st and 10. Inside to Craig. Craig trying to get a veer going. Not much. Maybe a yard. Green and Graham and English. Neither team has backed off. They get the ball. The only way you can play defense is to keep the other offense off the field.
Tyler, 82 yards now on the afternoon, 15 carries, so he's heading for the century mark.
He had 4 of them last year. And in all fairness, by the end of the season, the 49ers were as good a football team as there was alive, in my opinion. Maybe the Raiders would argue that. 2nd down and 8 to go. Good pass blocking. Solomon to 21. Bobby Watkins there. No pass rush that time. Well, the offensive line went out and got the Lions.
Now, the thing about Montana, Dwight Clark says that we get in situations in a ball game, a real tough spot like we're in now, where we need to score. If he's nervous, and I know everybody has to get nervous, he just never shows it. You just never know.
Well, we'd always remember the catch, right? The thing is that every year you're going to have the play of some kind that he pulls off, or this team does.
Number 6 over there is Matt Cavanaugh, the backup quarterback. Of course, we're talking about cool customers. The silver-haired gentleman right there doesn't get flustered too easily either.
I'd say. His first pro job was with Al Davis in 1966. It seemed like everybody has worked with Al Davis in this league at one time or another. The numbers on Joe Montana, 16 of 25, 188, a TD, and a masterful job of keeping his cool. Let's go to New York now for an update. Brett, you got it.
Rookie Phil Simms has the hot hand against the Eagles. Watch here as he throws his 4th touchdown pass of the day. His 2nd to the rookie from Kansas, Bob Johnson. This one a 16-yarder. They add the extra point right now, and the Giants lead it by 8 points. And 8 can be a tough number in the 4th quarter. Back to Brookie.
Okay, Brent. Boy, it's good to see Phil Simms healthy for a change. The injuries are an awful thing in pro football. Good to see him active and doing his job. 1st and 10 toss to Wendell Tyler behind Craig's block. He breaks it, almost breaks that play to the 15. Doig pulled him down from behind. Cut down the fumbles. I bet he's heard that in his sleep. But let me tell you something. He does some things without fumbling that nobody else can do much. He's something. Detroit used the timeout. Wersing is simply thinking about the stroke. Much like Fuzzy Zeller being in the clubhouse, knowing he has to go back out and tee it up for overtime, maybe, right?
You know, in any situation, once being a kicker, and I wasn't in the class of this guy, I'll tell you that, I could hardly have had trouble keeping it in the building. But sometimes you have to do it. But you'd much rather have that offense take it in for the 6 than, you know, those guys that say, I want the ball at the end and that kind of stuff. Hey, I was down on one knee pulling for that offense all the time those years I had to kick.
A little white around the temples, boy. You start straining a little bit. Don't forget, tonight on CBS, 60 Minutes as always. One day at a time. Good night, Beantown. The Jeffersons, Alice, and old Trapper John M.D. Right here on CBS tonight. What a game. Still not decided, so don't go chalking up one for anybody. 27 all. There's Eddie Murray, the great kicker on the other side. These two teams are deep and loaded, and to go on the road, as San Francisco has had to do, to play a team of this caliber the first game might be a good one to have in your buyout to put away and forget. Say, this is great to get it out of the way. Second down and 5 to go. Ring is in with Tyler. This is Ring. Looked like a false trap of some kind. Down to the 10-yard line goes Bill Ring. Bill Frio, my spotter, tells me that Graham made the tackle down there.
Ring in. He's been fresh. Roger Craig has been in there lead blocking for Wendell Tyler. This time they brought Ring in, handed to him. Look at him cover up as he started to go down at this stage of the game. You don't want to lose that ball on a fumble. Tough little guy right there, Billy Ring.
Wonder how time of possession is in this game. Has it been pretty even on who's had that? We'll find out on that, because sometimes it's a very big factor, and with these kind of teams, it might be just as even as the scoreboard.
You know, this is a situation over the past few years that has always impressed me about the 49ers, Brookie, is the fact that once they get inside the 20, they usually figure out a way to get it all the way in the end zone. Washington doesn't really kick too many short field goals. Most of his field goal attempts come from, you know, around 40 yards and in that area. Once that Walsh and Montana get inside the 15-yard line onto the 20-yard line, they really get dangerous.
And that plus 20 is the hard territory.
Yeah.
Everybody tells me that, you know, everything shrinks up to where you can't get the ball in there.
It seems like they always save something that you haven't seen all day, you know, and it's hard to get a tendency on them. Anybody that's the defenses in will tell you that. It's hard to get any kind of tendency. Look at the strain right there. And we talked about being cool and things like that, but you can tell that there is strain in this ball game.
Get the big one out of the way. They got an extra day for next week, so this would be a big notch in the gun belt. 1:37 left. It was a first down and 10 to go. Ring inside. Not much. In English, and Detroit calls timeout and burns one this time.
Need to do that.
You could score a touchdown, or you could score a first down without getting a touchdown. I believe it's very close. It looks like it's almost stick to stick, but I believe it's about 4 or 5 inches away.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they could nose it up against that goal line and get a first down.
Monty Clark also had relaxed his training camp a little bit. Not a lot of hitting and sort of taking it easy. No 2 days with pads. And
yeah, Monty said, remember he told us, he said, I've been able to get to my own personality more this year because of the people that we have and the character they have. So, you know, I haven't, you know, had to be a ball and chain guy and do that. They did take it a little easier.
Detroit has had the ball 29 minutes and 16 seconds. San Francisco has had the ball 29 minutes and 20 seconds.
4 seconds difference.
And it's a 27-all tie. There are no timeouts left for the men in Honolulu blue down there. You know, you were saying something. I know people don't think this is funny, but players like to have a good-looking uniform. And I've got to admit, Detroit has a uniform. Is that a football uniform that they wear?
I tell you, I was proud to put it on for 15 years. I liked it.
15 years? Yours must have been faded by the time you finished. 15. 200 some odd games, right?
Yeah, and they only had to wash it a couple times, so I didn't get on the ground much.
Second down and 6. No timeouts left for Detroit. Ring and Tyler. Ring. Wow. Swimming inside the 5. Clock is running. Obviously, the 49ers will stop it when they want to. They still have some timeouts left. 49ers have all 3 left. You can watch the clock right with us. I don't know if I'm wired enough to be able to take this season if we're going to have all of these nail biters up to the elbow every Sunday, but I like it. I like the way it starts. And this has been some game for all 4 quarters. A minute. You can see it. Montana, 3rd down, and call it 3.5. Uh-oh, fall down. Wersching's going to be forced to come in off that sideline. Ring stumbled, it looked like, as he took the handoff. Nobody is moving for an exit. That's certainly not the Detroit Lion football team. That defense has battled.
Well, they want to run some time off the clock before they get Wersching in there. Use a timeout.
Clark just came in and said something to Montana. Here comes Wersching. He will not look up now. He will go ahead and get his sights. Look at this.
He'll want to find Montana and tap him on the shoulder pad a couple times. He's kind of superstitious about that, too. But he will not look at the goalpost. He lines up by those hash marks that are on that artificial turf out there.
You can see the clock. Now they'll say, well, let's do it. Detroit didn't have any left. I don't know if Wersching needed that timeout or not.
No, I don't think you do.
He jogged off just to make sure, huh?
Well, he wants to get over there where he's around his guys because he doesn't want to hear what Detroit wants to say to him at this point. So.
Do they yell at the other kicker?
You bet they do.
Like, hey, how's your neck size? Are you having any trouble swallowing or anything?
These are the tough ones. If they used to tell me, I'd say, hey, they're all tough. Extra points.
These are the tough ones. The back and forth batter across the line of scrimmage and all. You can obviously write books. They have been some great ones written about it, but it is most comical and interesting what these guys say to one another on a given Sunday.
You know, here's a guy right there saying, you know, haven't I been here before?
Oh,
wasn't it just New Year's Eve at Candlestick Park where it was like this?
Deja vu. For the guys in blue. Montana's the holder. A 22-yarder. It's good. And Wersching didn't act like he had a pulse. Time is called for the kickoff with 4 left. That's as close a game as you're going to probably see all year for 2 good squads that have taken it down and used just about everything there was to use in their playbooks, from their coaching staffs. And I'll tell you right now, coaches are more important than they've ever been before. The preparation is really amazing.
Well, it's like moving a circus when they load up to travel too. A lot of bodies on a football team anymore. 4 seconds left, as you can see in this one. But no timeouts for the Lions. It's just this side of hopeless. Wersching more than likely will squib the kick. So they'll want to keep it down the middle, I would suppose, Brookie, because if you kick it toward the sideline, they could get it and perhaps run out of bounds and get one more play off. So I'm quite sure that he'll kick it low down the middle.
And just a few moments ago, post corner to Leonard Thompson. Danielson hit with a perfect strike, and it looked like, you know, the game was sort of stabilized, and all of a sudden, bam.
Well, Montana doesn't look like he's doing much to you, but the combination of his coolness out there and the play calling from the sideline just took them all the way down and got exactly what they needed.
Wersching checking scoreboards. He's looking around now. Boy, look at this. That is cool.
That's a good feeling. You know, you're going to get to be, you know, one of the stars, one of the heroes of the game. Probably go on, you know, the local radio and get a sport coat, you know, for being on.
New pair of boots.
One of our guys was awarded a sport coat. He said, if you go on the radio, you get a sport coat. And one of our guys said, what size?
The squib kick that Wayne Walker talked about, taken by Robbie Martin, who hands off a switch behind the back and knocked almost out of bounds Kenny Jacobs. There's a flag on the play at the 39, and this game may be history. Jacobs did not appear to get out of bounds, and yet I thought I saw them stop the clock. Maybe that's because of the flag down.
There was an offensive foul on the last play of the game. Therefore, the game will not be extended, and it is over. due to an offensive foul.
Bob Frederick tells us that if that had been a defensive foul, we could not have ended the game on a defensive foul. Monty Clark is checking with Frederick to make sure that the ruling is right, but it sounded right from here. San Francisco 30, Detroit 27. The amazing thing was that after the fumble and run in by Gay to give Detroit the early lead, San Francisco never did bail out. They stayed right in to win it, didn't they?
Well, that's their character. You don't go as far as they have gone 2 out of the last 3 years without that kind of character. And I think from the Detroit aspect, I almost feel that although it's a tremendous disappointing loss for Monty Clark and the Lions, that Monty might come out tomorrow and say, I found a quarterback.
And I think he's found a good football team. They're deep. The Lions look deeper than they've ever been. And everybody has said the 49ers, it's not that they're good. It's how good are they. They might be better than ever. And so this is Tom Brookshire saying so long for Wayne Walker and all of us up here in the Silver Dome. And it's 30-27 San Francisco on Detroit. So let's go right now to Brent Musburger in New York. After this commercial message, we'll go to New York. Thank you.